Hello and welcome to today's episode of CCTV. Hello and welcome to CCTV, the place to be if you're trying to get more happy, healthy, and fit. I'm Christina Carlyle. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a nutritionist. I am your coach and biggest cheerleader, here to help you reach your weight loss and wellness goals. And I know the past few episodes I've done, we've been focusing on food. And if you're trying to lose weight, if you're struggling to lose weight, if your New Year's resolution is now swirling down the toilet, if you've been doing everything right, but you're not seeing the number come down on the scale, I'm your girl. I know why that's happening. And I've been there. I've done that. It used to happen to me all the time. So last week when I posted my video about the cleanse and what a real cleanse is like, I got a question from a subscriber, The Forever Crafter, asked me, if I could share a story of how I became a nutritionist. And I was like, this is awesome. I was thinking about what to do today, and I do kind of have like a big running list of ideas for videos, but that particular question just really fired me up inside, and I really feel like it's gonna give you a better understanding of who I am, why I do what I do, and how I can help you, how I can kind of just let you know that you're not alone, there's nothing wrong with you. And your diet is not failing you. You're just eating the wrong foods for your make and model. That's all. I'll elaborate that in a little bit. So first, I just want to say thank you to The Forever Crafter for your amazing question. And this is for you. Now, I've made some videos before about my weight loss journey, my success story, how I lost 30 pounds and kept it off. Sometimes I say I've lost 40. I just want to be clear, like I have a 10-pound range. Like, just because I've lost the weight and I'm a nutritionist and trainer does not mean that I do not like food, okay? So I have this 10-pound range. You'll see it too, like if you go back to my videos, you'll see, you can tell I'm having this conscious uncoupling from my diet and exercise program. I kind of give my body a break. When I'm too stressed out or when I have too much going on, I will step away, but I also know how to rein it back in and keep it right so I can keep it tight. So my journey to becoming a nutritionist, to becoming a nutrigenomic specialist, to kind of really understanding how food is, how food can be used rather to manipulate your hormones and kind of exploit your hormones and kind of trigger your body to release fat. All of that started when I was 11 years old. You gotta understand, I didn't always look like this. I like to think of myself as an ugly duckling, underdog, warrior princess. Once upon a time, I was a complete nerd, straight A student, like obsessed with learning things, loved it, total geek. I had glasses and braces and really bad hair. It was super short. I didn't have any friends, and I was really kind of stuck because I wanted friends, but I was bullied, so I would like isolate, and I was like, oh, like, those girls are mean, and like, in all of my classes that I was in, I was kind of around some sort of like socially awkward kind of people too. Those people that they went to Harvard and ended up like acing the SAT. I wasn't quite like that, so I just kind of felt like I was in this weird in the middle, right? Like I didn't fit in with the cool kids. The cool kids kind of like tortured me, and over here I was like, wasn't quite as dialed into the learning stuff as my other peers that I identified with and would love to have stimulating conversations with and just be able to share all this stuff with. So I just kind of isolated. I was just kind of in the middle with nobody, and I ended up going to food. It was my best friend. And I know that a lot of people who struggle that I've worked with in the past 7 years that I've been actively making meal plans and diet plans and coaching and working with one-on-one, a lot of people feel the same way. So if you run to food when you have a bad day, when you're tired, when you're stressed, when he just did not call you but you thought he would but he didn't, just anytime you have any devastating news or you just want that comfort, you're going to food. Okay, it makes perfect sense. You realize like from day one you're kind of programmed to associate food with love, especially if you're breastfed, especially, you're being rocked with the bottle, like love equals food. So the fact that you're self-loving with food or self-soothing with food is completely normal. I started out that way. I started my first diet at 11 because I was like, well, damn, if I'm ever gonna fit in and not be a bully victim, I should probably lose some weight and at least get myself out of, the crosshairs. Maybe these girls will leave me alone. So I started my first diet at 11. I'd lose the weight, I'd gain it back, I'd lose the weight, I'd gain it back. That happened until I was about 24 years old. It didn't matter what diet I tried though. I never really, even though I lost the weight and could lose the weight, dieting and exercising, completely starving myself sometimes, or just going at it hard hours and hours and hours a day. I just never felt like I could get it right. Like I'd be exercising or I'd be dieting and I'd be like sitting there and I'd be eating this healthy food and I'd watch everybody else. They made it seem like it was so easy, like something was wrong with me. Like they could eat the pizza, they could eat the chips, but they weren't gaining weight, but I did, and I had to eat a certain way and exercise a certain way, and I just kind of resented it. I kind of resented my diet. I kind of resented going to the gym. Like there's a difference when you leave the gym feeling excited and empowered, like you have this sense of accomplishment, and then there's a big difference when you're leaving the gym and you're like, ugh, like annoyed that you just wasted you just feel like you had to spend time there. Okay, big difference. Same thing with diets. Like when you're sitting there sucking on a piece of lettuce and you're like, ugh, like stank face because your friend's eating pizza or a burger or whatever, there's a big difference. And for me, when I was 24 years old, I had the worst year of my life. I thought I was getting married. Not so much. My best friend and I got in this huge big blowout fight. I mean, it was just like hitting me hard. This like life was kicking me in the crotch back to back to back. Just lost tons of money, lost my man, lost my best friend. Had to tuck my tail in between my legs and move back in with my parents. And after being alone on my own from the age of 18, it was just kind of like a big kick in the crotch. The ego, the soul, like all of it. And I stepped on the scale. I saw the biggest number I'd ever seen in my life. And I was like, you know what? It's my turn. I want to figure this out. And I'm going to figure it out. So I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I was like, I'm going to study exercise, right? I'm going to go exercise. I started. I didn't have a job at the time. I was like looking and trying to pursue what I wanted to do. I started going to the gym, and I just felt like I didn't have anywhere else to go. And I was there 2 hours every day, and I wasn't losing weight. I was not. And I'm like, okay. I started to think maybe it was just me, I'm winging it, I'm on my own, this isn't working. So I started to train to become a group aerobics instructor. I was a class junkie. I didn't at the time really know exercise at all. But I loved going to group fitness classes. I just liked to have that instruction and feel like, you know, I wanted to get an A, you know, front row center, like that. I want my A, I want to like work it. But every time I'd step on the scale, the number wasn't going down. And I was like, well, this is bullshit. Sorry, like earmuffs, this is like personal. And sometimes when I go personal, that my authenticity comes true. And by the way, like I think I've said before, if you curse, cursing is a sign of passion and authenticity. So yeah. And by the way, I'm sure I'm not the only one who stepped on the scale and been like, this is bullshit. So just saying. And I was saying that a lot. I'm like, I'm doing everything right. So I started studying exercise. So I got my group aerobics instructor certification. And then I went and got my personal trainer certification. And I was still struggling to lose weight. And I'm like, okay. And I would look around and I would see other trainers and I would see other, you know, aerobics instructors. Well, some of them look like, you know, they had that body, like that aerobics instructor body, but some of them didn't. Some of them, you know, if I were to sit there, not to be mean, but if I were to pick them out of a lineup of people who I thought at the time, who's an aerobics instructor, half of them didn't look like they'd be aerobics instructors. So I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense. We're exercising for hours and hours and hours a day. What's going on? And then that just kind of snowballed into the next thing. I'm like, okay, let's focus on the food. So then I started focusing on food. I didn't necessarily want to become a nutritionist. I didn't necessarily want to go back to pay for another exam, for another course, to get another certification. But it just kind of had to happen out of necessity because I still couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting the results I want. So 2 years later, now I'm a nutritionist. I actually had 2 certifications. I had a master nutritionist certification. I also had a sports nutritionist certification. So how to use food and how to use food for exercise, okay? So now I know exercise, I know food for exercise, and I was still struggling to lose weight. Not even kidding. And I was like, now at this point, I'm like, well, this is some bullshit. This is the real bullshit now. Like, we'll do like the meet the Fockers, like bullshit. Like, I was yeah, so me being this underdog who refused to kind of stop trying and refused to give up, it just kind of segued from there. And I started to read books, dozens of books. To date, I've read over 1,000. And it wasn't just the food, because I knew how to manipulate nutrients, right? So if you've ever tried, like, for example, if you've ever done an online program and it's somebody saying, eat this much of this protein, you have to pair it with a carb. Well, yeah, but that's usually for like a leaning out program, like a bodybuilding kind of program. Or if you see somebody, I don't want to name names specifically of other people who have online programs, but a lot of those programs, they just say, eat this in this amount in this way, and you'll lose fat. Well, for me, I was kind of like, okay, it didn't work for me. You know, I felt like I was still on a diet. I still felt like resentment for food. I am a former fat girl. I love food. I want to know how I can have my cake and eat it too. The books kind of did not speak my language. A lot of them were written by like Harvard scientists and doctors and neurosurgeons and all these different types of really smart, brilliant people who actually had good advice, but it was just kind of like, you know, when you're reading a book and you're into it versus like you're reading a book and you're like, oh my God, I can barely stay awake. Every kind of book that I was reading was like that. I used to work in an intensive care unit, and I was subscribed to different publications for continuing education credits because I was in the admin capacity. I had to like let nurses know when their continuing education credits were due. But I also got a firsthand look at how your health is affected. You know, being in and out of an intensive care unit all day, it's kind of like, oh, wow. Like you get a real huge like wake up call as to your mortality and how important health really is to your quality of life. And it was really sad and like kind of negative kind of place to work, especially, you know, in a financial kind of administrative capacity, which is why I, you know, exited. One of the reasons why I exited. But I would always continue to get these publications for continuing education credit. So right around the same time, I'm like, well, this is boring. I can't, like this doctor's telling me all this stuff, but I'm half asleep, and then I'm getting these continuing education things for these lectures. And I'm like, maybe, you know, a speaking kind of, maybe to hear it with the visual and actually be able to raise my hand and ask a question would help, which is what I did. I started going to different continuing education stuff. So that's when I really got to learn firsthand what a doctor would know, what a dietitian would know, somebody who's licensed in a hospital. By the way, I'm a nutritionist. I know how to use food to lose fat, how to incorporate food for a training program. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. Dietitians are the type of people that are working in a hospital, and they have to know how many units of glucose to add to your IV bag to keep you alive if you were in a coma. I know how to figure that out, but I'm not trying to like be in a hospital trying to keep somebody alive in a coma. I'm trying to, my whole focus, my whole thing has always been, how can I lose weight, feel good, look good, see my number on the scale, know how to eat, know how to exercise, and like it? Because I know, I mean, if I don't like something, I'm not gonna stick with it. And I know everybody I've ever worked with is the same way. It has to work for you. It has to work for your life. You have to be able to have that balance. You have to be able to go out and feel good and feel conscious and excited about the choices you're making. When you know what's in food, when you know how to use those foods, when you know how those different foods are benefiting you, and when you see that number going down, it's a lot easier to stick with something. And then when you go back to your old ways and you feel icky again, it's just kind of a lot easier to rein it in and bring it back. So through these continuing education classes, that's when I started to dig deep into nutrigenomics and hormones and physiology and biology and how your body's like a chemistry lab. And I learned how different nutrients affect your hormones and how your hormones affect your motivation, your cravings, your just everything. Hormones are chemical messengers that float inside of you, making sure all of your systems work in perfect harmony, and you are, genetically speaking, like a snowflake. There's nobody else like you. There never will be. And through all of this, I learned how to pinpoint a metabolic structure, how to pinpoint somebody's unique DNA profile that makes up their body type, that helps me understand their physiology. It helps me understand their dietary habits, how they feel, why they think, how different foods and nutrients and combinations of nutrients affect your hormones. And a lot of people, they go on these diets, these one-size-fits-all approaches, and they can't figure out why they're not losing weight. Well, if you're not eating the right foods for your unique body type, you're gonna kind of program yourself to stay stuck, feel cranky, feel tired, feel moody. When you feel bad, it's really hard to get off the couch to go to the gym. Once upon a time, I used to take all that pre-workout stuff, and I'd go to the gym thinking it's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. I say that a lot. Like, I'd go to the gym, I'd work out, I'd feel like I could run a marathon and win. And then I'd come home, and 20 minutes later, I'd feel like just terrible. Like, what happened to that high? Oh, by the way, I do not take pre-workouts. I do not take supplements, like fat burner kind of supplements. It's all garbage. Most of those things actually can really, especially if you're struggling to lose weight, a lot of those things can actually just make it worse. Band-Aids on bullet holes. It really helps when you know foods, when you know your unique body type, your genetic structure, you know how different foods affect you, you know how to eat them. When I learned all of that, that's when I finally felt good, looked good, felt confident in my own skin. I've been called fat and I've been called skinny on the same day. I don't care. I know how I want to feel. I know how I want to look naked. I know how I want, I know what number I want to see when I step on the scale. So once you know that, once you're empowered with all of that, I mean, it doesn't really matter if somebody says anything because you feel good. It's a lot easier to not be deflected by somebody's negative, nasty comments about your body. So when somebody's like, you're too skinny, I'm like, stay in your own lane. Thanks. Stay in your own lane. You gotta understand, this is your body. Nobody else is gonna be with you. Nobody else throughout your life. People will come and go, family, friends, it doesn't matter. Men, women, people will come and go. You are gonna be in this body your entire life. So it's you and your body till the end. And if you don't take care of it, I mean, I flash back to the intensive care unit and seeing these people like in a hospital bed with piss that is pitch black coming out of their colostomy bags. Like, when you see that happen, and again, I mean, health, I mean, there are gonna be people who say, well, I want the cake, life's too short. Okay, cool, but your life can be a lot shorter if you eat the cake. And by the way, that cake could be the reason why you feel bad, you look bad, why you're getting breakouts, why you're getting straight facial hairs, why you have body acne, why you have cellulite, why you can't seem to lose that last stubborn 10 pounds no matter how hard you try. Like, there are things you could be eating, even though your diet says it's okay, that are programming you to stay stuck, spinning your wheels, not losing fat. So that's how I became a nutritionist and a trainer and, your coach and biggest cheerleader, because when I figured it all out, when I figured out the food and the exercise and the hormones and the anatomy and the body types and the body profiles, and I actually figured that out for myself, it wasn't just like I lost the weight. I felt better, I looked better. People were like, wow, your skin looks amazing. Thank you. I get carded. I go out for a drink now, I get carded. I'm like, you think I haven't been 20 for 12 years, but can I buy you a drink? Like, when you know how foods affect you and how to leverage your lifestyle, like, you can go out and have those things that you don't like, but you also have to know how to rein it back in and how to pay attention to your body. And that's what I do. That's what I teach people. I teach people how to pinpoint their unique genetic profile, their structure. I make plans for them, say, this is your blueprint, this is your guidebook, this is your handbook, this is why every other diet and exercise program hasn't failed you. This is your plan for the best possible results. Even if you don't follow it 100% of the time, you're gonna get results. You're definitely gonna feel better, you're gonna look better, and practice makes perfect, but it works if you work it. So even if you slip up a couple days, you rein it back in, the weight comes off, it stays off, you're good. So I say mind right, body tight. When you have that education, when you feel good, when you have that inspiration, when you have somebody who's been through it, kind of like guiding you along, there for you every time you have a question, sends you an email, you shoot them back, like shoot them straight. I don't lie to my people. I really try to be a motivator, an encourager, and a supporter, and I mean, that's what I do, and that's why and how I became a nutritionist, and I'm all out obsessed with it. I really am, because when I get those emails from people who are like, I'm at the lowest weight I've ever been, I can't believe it, you're my hero, I can't believe it. I'm like, I feel like my life wasn't for a waste. Like if I was in a car accident and were to die today, I'd die and I'd feel good because I know how to fix it and I'm fixing it. And I see all these trainers that they, you know, people spending hundreds of dollars a month the same way I was. They're not seeing that number drop. They think that something's wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you. You just got to do what's right for you. So just, you know if it's working, you know how you're feeling. I don't have to tell you. You already know. Is it working? Is it not? If it's not, you're doing the wrong thing for your body type, for your metabolic profile, for your goal. 9 times out of 10, you already know what it is if you're just eating way too much. But if you are doing everything right, if you are dieting and you are exercising and you are really going through the motions, but you can't seem to take it off, or you're not getting the results you deserve, you're spinning your wheels, you're kind of stuck in the mud, that's a hormone thing. Your physiology's off. That's where I come in, and that's when I'm like, we're shocking the system, we're taking it off quickly, and I'm not gonna give you hype. I don't give bullshit. I don't do false gimmicks if I can't help you, or if I don't want to help you, if your goal is unrealistic, if you're too young, if you have something that I can't, in good faith, fix. Like I legit will not fix, I will straight up will refuse to work with people just because, oh, you want to lose 60 pounds? You're gonna die. Like you can't. And if your goal is unrealistic, I'll tell you, if I will always shoot you straight. Cause that's what I would have wanted. That's what I, at 11 years old, would have wanted. Somebody to hold my hand, say it's gonna be okay, and tell me. It would have saved me a lot of time and tears and sweat and unhappy thoughts and thinking that I was broken. I wasn't broken. You're not broken. There aren't too many people that know what I know. And it's tough because I'm in a weight loss industry, underdog, warrior princess. I am going up against people with multi-billion-dollar marketing budgets. And a lot of people want to stay stuck. They're not ready to get off that gain, lose, gain, diet and exercise roller coaster. I get that. I've been there. I was ready to get off of it. I was all out, obsessed, hell-bent, committed on figuring it out. I figured it out, and now I've been helping other people get off of it too. So, I mean, I hope that kind of clarified your question. And I just, honest to God, I made like my story video before, and it wasn't raw and it wasn't real. You know, I'm not an expert YouTube video maker. If you look back, half of my videos, I can't even watch them. They're so embarrassing. A lot of people that I'm up against and making videos against, they make it seem like it's so light and bright and polite and bubbly and everything's perfect. It's not. It's weight loss, it's self-care, it's wearing your own name on your own back in your own game, and really just saying enough is enough. It's my turn. So if you're not there yet, that's cool. I'm not going anywhere. I make a new video every Thursday. Come hell or high water, I will make a new video every Thursday. And I mean, that's it. If you want to work with me, if you're interested in learning more, I'll put a link to my website below. If you really want a plan, and you really want to, you know what's going on with you and why, I'll explain it to you. I do free consultations, not a big deal. I'd love to tell you. I love talking to people. It keeps it green for me. It lets me know like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I love what I do, and I would love to help you. And I hope this video helped you understand some more about me and who I am and what I do, and you know, why you've struggled, and probably, you know, hopefully we can relate. You related to some of the things I said. So if you like this video, please like it so I know. And if you don't want to miss next week's episode, subscribe now because I make a new video every Thursday. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful week. It's not your fault. Just keep your chin up. Keep your chin up. Pay attention to how your body reacts to foods. Pay attention. Your body's trying to tell you something when you don't feel good, when you have like side effects of the wrong food choices. Your body will tell you. It's just up to you to pay attention and listen and respect what your body's saying, because over time it'll snowball and get worse and worse and worse. So keep that in mind. Until next week. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. Bye.